in the commitment to better manage the tourist industries. The UNWTO has an essential role in generating knowledge, implementing policies and instruments for a competitive and sustainable tourism. For this reason, I am pleased to present Mr. Taleb Rifai, General Secretary of the UNWTO. Good morning.
Vice President of the Government of Cuba, your presence here this morning is a very important message to all of us. It's a manifestation of how much Cuba attains and how much importance it places on this very important sector. No wonder there is great successes with you have the highest political level, concentration, and importance being given to this sector. Thank you for being with us this morning. Mr. Cuevas, I enjoyed my conversation with you last night tremendously. You're a person of vision, and I value your friendship. Thank you very much for being with us. Minister Morero, what can I say? My very good friend, your energy, your dedication, your hard work is yielding results. You're in the right time, the right place, with the right energy and the right people. Thank you so much for hosting all of us here. My dear ministers, fellow participants, when Minister Morero invites us, particularly the ministers from the Americas that are here, we always answer the call. I personally never fail to come to Cuba whenever you signal from a distance even. Thank you so much for inviting us, and I welcome you all. It's very important to have Canada as your partner guest in this very important fair. You are absolutely correct. There is by far much more than just business, economy, and profit in the relationship between Cuba and Canada. There is so much in common, and the presence of the minister here this morning is a very important sign, a very important message. Thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, queridos amigos, señoras y señores, nation's family from the international travel and tourism community, and it gives me great pleasure to be back here in this lively and beautiful city of Havana. I've been in this city many times, and I've listened very carefully, Mr. Minister, to your very detailed, extensive, enlightening presentation this morning. I completely agree with the fact that if you come once, you're seduced. You have to come again and again, and that was my story. I promised you, and I will fulfill my promise. Next time, I'll be here with my 5 children, my wife and myself, and we will qualify for a group rate and a group treatment when we come. Thank you so much, Mr. Minister. It is also important to be here on the occasion of FITCUBA. I was here 2 years ago. We were together at the Citadel, at the castle, and I still remember very clearly our experience together. It was wonderful. I will never forget the taste of that pina colada, and I'm insisting that I will not leave Cuba before trying it again, Minister. You promised me to do that. It's the most beautiful, the most tasty pina colada anybody can have in the world ever. I promise you. Don't miss it. Let me congratulate you, Mr. Minister. You're not just the longest standing minister in the Americas. You're a very respected gentleman, and that's exactly why people answer your call. Thank you very much for having all of us here. Dear friends, tourism is one of the largest development sectors in Cuba and throughout the Caribbean, and that shows here in Cuba in its best form and in its best ways. I thank you all for supporting the growth, in your presence here, particularly today, manifests that presence. Yesterday we had a great meeting with 17 full ministers and 23 member countries with vice ministers and heads of delegations of the Americas here. We discussed the future of tourism in this part of the world. I'm very grateful to be able to come to your fascinating country again, and to be here particularly at the theme that we're celebrating in the FITCUBA and this afternoon. You're talking about the relationship between culture and tourism, and that's a very, very important part of the mandate of UNWTO as a United Nations specialized agency. Dear Minister, culture is the story of the people, the story of the nation. It tells everything. Tangible and intangible cultural assets are what tells who we are. They reveal our identity. But if culture is the story, then tourism is the publisher and the distributor of that story. There cannot be a story that is not shared, enjoyed, and experienced by many people. And it's tourism that constitutes the vehicle to all of that. It is very important that you focus here on culture and tourism, because that's what will distinguish you as an authentic destination as you're trying to promote yourself. Let me very quickly share, as I agree with the good minister from Canada, my experience of last night. Last night was a tremendous, tremendous, enriching experience. I was sitting next to a wonderful gentleman, but I was enjoying in front of me a show of extensive insight into what Cuba is. A country that's so faithful to its roots, so faithful to its roots. The African roots, the European roots, and the indigenous roots. They all together were in one mesh, one meld, and we enjoyed tremendously the high level and high standards of performance, the quality, the innovation, and the creativity that was presented to us. Yesterday also, I discovered suddenly something that came into my mind and my body when I felt how creative the young people of Cuba are. This creativity does not come out of vacuum. It comes out of a space where self-expression is provided. So let me tell you something. This is a place of creativity. It's a place of self-expression. It's a place of happiness and joy. You see the smiles on the faces of the people everywhere you go. This doesn't happen accidentally. This is one very, very, very happy country. And it's one of the best 11 million group of people that I have met in my life. I say this without hesitation and without any inhibition. It's a beautiful country. It's a country to enjoy. It's a country to experience. All that was reminded to me last night when I was watching the wonderful show that was there, the colorful, creative show. This is a country also that has gone through a lot of difficulties and challenges, but you've withheld. Your resilience have paid back. A proud people that stuck to their principles and yielded results at the end of the day. It is very important that we acknowledge that. When I look at Havana today, I see a charming mix of the past, the present, the future, and wonderfully linked as a tapestry of colors, sounds, and movement and atmosphere. I remember very much, Mr. Minister, 2 years ago when you took me by the hand, and you always do that, when we were in the old city of Havana, and you were showing me as a fellow architect, we're both architects, him and I, and you were so proudly displaying the beauties of the downtown and the historic values, and the restoration was up and going. This time, 2 years after that, I come back, every spot in Havana is under renovation and construction. Every place has people working so diligently and so proud. Last night, when we were entering the theater and when we were exiting the theater, I saw a party in the streets. I saw people proud of their city, proud of their country. That's quite an achievement in the world of today. As a globalized citizen, as an advocate for peace, we're also called upon to take stock of the present and of the changes that we see today and use them to create a better future for the people of this planet. Our business in tourism may be varied. Each and every one of you in this hall may have a different kind of business. Tour operators, hoteliers, airline industries, any kind of business that creates lives and creates jobs. But let's all remember, our core business, almost 1.2 billion, to be precise, 1,184 million international tourists cross borders in one single year. That's almost 1 out of 7 of the people of the world making an international tourism trip out of their country every year. That is a true revolution. We are truly living in what we call the age of travel. By 2030, UNWTO forecasts that there will be 1.8 billion international travelers. To see where we came from 50, 60 years ago and where we are today would demonstrate the power and the importance and the impact of this industry. But my dear friends, with power comes responsibility. We need to be very responsible towards our planet and towards our people. We believe that the challenge calls for many, many actions. One, We need to be more careful in tourism management to make sure that it's directed the right way. 1.2 billion international travelers can be 1.2 billion opportunities or 1.2 billion disasters. It's all up to us, and we need to work together to make sure that it turns force for good. 2, we need proper education on the values of sustainable tourism. We need to prepare the future generation as to what is up to them. It is not enough for us to prepare a qualified workforce that is capable of handling the hospitality industry. It's very important to make them realize that they are there to make this world a better place, to make them very conscious and aware of the values of sustainability. The UN General Assembly last September approved the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 goals that constitute the agenda for 2030. These goals should be at the heart of our agenda in the tourism industry. 3, innovation that takes advantage of technology must be in the heart of what we do. Let us not forget, we are not experiencing the most innovative industry in the world. We need to think outside of the box and make this industry ahead of its time, using and utilizing technology. Let us remember that we were able to put a man on the moon before we were able to put wheels on a suitcase. That's how traditional, how classical our industry is. We need to think outside of the box, we need to move forward. Last but not least, we need to generate very important and innovative methods for financing mechanisms that would allow for more investments in the sustainable tourism and tourism for the future. My dear friends, the great Cuban Jose Marte once said, it is a sin, and I quote, not to do what we are capable of doing. And we're capable of doing a lot. Let's do it together. We're here to exhibit and share our abilities and our responsibilities. We're here to prove that we're capable of doing it. If we're together all the time, we will be more than capable of maintaining the incredible progress that we have made in the field of tourism while setting the course for a more sustainable, responsible, and equitable future sector. Let's always remember, dear friends, we are here to make this world a better place. We are here in the right time, the right place. Cuba is on the right side of history. Canada is on the right side of history. And we all must be on that correct side. I thank you all very much. Muchas gracias.